And welcome back to Kerbal Kolonization, where today we're going to try to actually make it to orbit. Since last time around, when Jeb had his crack at orbit, he decided to do a sick burnout instead. So Jeb's loss is Val's gain. So we have modified the rocket slightly. Since Jeb did make it into low Kerbal orbit, or at least low Kerbal space, he collected all the relevant science that we can get from there. So we trimmed down our science payload to make the rocket a little more maneuverable. So right now we've definitely got way more delta V than we would typically need for such a mission, but you know what? We're going to go for high Kerbal orbit instead of low. So anyways, all right, let's go in 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to start firing up this liquid fueled engine, the swivel here. Go ahead and get that done pretty early because I need the control. These solid rocket boosters, I don't have any gimbal set on them. So right now, aside from the SAS control in the pod, this engine is the only thing that's giving me any control authority. So trying to make a little bit of a turn to the east. I don't want to go too far out of whack. I do have some control fins on this thing, or at least some fins on it, so that it's not going to be quite as likely to completely flip out. But I don't want to push it too much. Right, yep. Okay. There we go. Alright, pushing over good. Yeah, this I like solid rocket boosters a lot, but they have their issues. Namely that you cannot throttle them, you can't really control them. So you light them on fire and then they go. Until they don't. Alright. Now we're on our liquid fuel engine and we are pushing towards space. Right now our apoapsis is already over 50 kilometers, so we're going to try to get turned as much as we can horizontal. Alright, picking up some heating effects because we are moving pretty fast now, well over 1 kilometer per second. Alright, get this thing flattened out as much as we can. Now we're going to keep thrusting until we get up to over 250 kilometers for apoapsis, so that we make sure we get that high Kerbal orbit science. And we're better off doing it right now when we're going horizontal. If you go straight up, you will have a monstrous horizontal burn to reach orbital speed, and it's it's very wasteful. One of the little factoids that I always like to tell people is that the space shuttle, even though it has to get to over 7 kilometers per second orbital speed, its circularization burn is only 250 meters per second or less, or it was. I mean, that's how good their launch profile was that they only had to get 250 meters per second to circularize. That's pretty stinking impressive. It certainly puts my circularization burns to shame. Alright, 265. That'll give us plenty of margin to do our science. Go ahead and get everything opened up. Deploy our magnetometer. Where are we at? Yep. Still got the battery shut off, so we got power. Alright. Alright, now we have ourselves up to high Kerbal orbit. So let's do that circularization burn. And while we're at it, grab a little science. Alright, keeping one eye on the fuel, one eye on the apoapsis, and there we go. We are in orbit. Fantastic. Alright. So, let's go ahead and get a crew report. Crew reporting in from space. Yep. Alright. Observe the mystery goo. Keep that experiment. Log the temperature of vacuum. And now log the pressure of a vacuum. And suck all that science up into the data storage module. Alright, now at this point, we have gotten everything we wanted to do from a science perspective done. But we actually have a contract to test the Mark 16 parachute. Now, if we do everything right, this is entirely doable, because as the ship drops ballistically, it'll go below 300 meters per second, right around, I want to say, like 8 kilometers. So we can totally do this. But we've got to be careful, because during these early missions, when you don't have any solar panels, running out of electricity is a genuine concern. So let's give Val once around the planet, and then when we get back over here to Apoapsis, we'll do a deorbiting burn and return. This is a pretty game. Alright. Coming around on the day side. Whipping by pretty quick. Well, we have time warping, but out over the desert. And we actually should be coming back towards the landmass where the KSP is. Or KSC is. Yep. Oh, we're going to hit Apoapsis not too far away from them. Alright. So, yep, and we're out of electrical charge. Whew. Getting some solar panels is going to have to be a priority. Oh, that's what it was. I had this stability system on. Alright, so we're close enough to Apoapsis, so open that engine up. And we are definitely committed to coming home. Now, lock that battery off. We need the battery electrical charge so that we can fire the parachute. So, last thing you want is to go for re-entry and find yourself with no electrical charge to fire your parachute. Very bad thing. Alright, so let's speed ourselves up back to atmospheric interface. Hopefully we won't be coming down on the night side, but no, we will. Well, we might snake over. Alright, now. Alright. Let's get ourselves oriented and toss that service module away. Get ourselves reoriented. And here we go. And thankfully we've got 43 electrical charge, so we will be just fine making it through. Valentina's loving this. Here we go. Yeah, sorry about the clicky keys. I have a mechanical keyboard, so it makes a heck of a racket. Alright. Speed things up, and thankfully this capsule is pretty aerodynamically stable in this configuration. Back when they first added re-entry heating, we had some issues with some of the capsules were simply not stable, and you'd bring them in and you'd need a good amount of electrical charge, because if you did not have your SAS system, these things would start to tumble and you'd be hosed. So yeah, the addition of the there goes the service module, but the addition of atmospheric heating, re-entry heating, and the major aerodynamic overhaul that all came together right after, was it? Yeah, I think it was like right after official release. It was an interesting time, because they had not completely solved the aerodynamic model and the heating model, and as a consequence you had a lot of serious issues. Alright, yep, we're going to sneak around. We'll actually land in the daylight. Speed things up as she's trying to slow things down. Alright, there we go. So now we're just free falling. Let's see here. And what do you know? Speed's low enough. Almost got the altitude there. But we're going to let this thing drop a little bit farther so that we're not floating down quite so long under the parachute. There we go. Contract complete. Nah, we'll keep the heat shield. And there we go. And Valentina sets down after historic first orbiting of Kerbin. Fantastic. Alright, and we recover back at KSP, and holy goodness, look at that, 106 science earned. That is fantastic. 7 experiments recovered. Alright, good deal. We're still looking pretty on the funds, and Valentina has advanced to level 1. Good for her. And she earns herself a passel of new ribbons, including first Kerbin in orbit ribbon. She's going to have a lot of those first ribbons at this rate. Alright. So the first thing we want to do is go spend some of that science. Now, let's take a look here. Enhanced survivability and life support. We don't need 2.5 meter parts yet. Those nose cones and those wings are very tempting. But we need the landing gear and the cockpit for something I've got planned. So we're going to research that. Okay, let's take a look here. What is this? Recycling. Recycling module. Okay. See electrics. Oh, solar panels. Solar panels and solar wind spectrometer. This is for the science, what is it called? Surface exploration pack. Basically a bunch of instruments that your Kerbals have to go out and place on the ground themselves to do science. Very, very cool little mod I'm looking forward to playing around with, but we're not there yet because I got nowhere to store the science experiments. Clampetrons, adapters, yeah. Let's see, camera stuff. Oh, solar wind antenna. And the little baby rover wheels. Can't. Enhanced flight control, not there yet. Landing. Heat shields. Landing struts. Big parachutes. Nothing amazing. And a lot of airplane parts that I'm terrible with. Fuel systems. Oh, external fuel duct. That's important. And it's a much larger 1.25 meter fuel tanks. Very important. But I need the electrics. Alright, so that'll do it for our science. Alright. Now, let's go over here and take a look at what we've got for missions. Tourism. Ferry a VIP safely to their destination. Suborbital. And then orbit around Kerbin. Oh, this will be an easy one. They just want to go... Yeah, they just want to go suborbital. That one we can do. That'll be easy. Take that. Surveys. Scans of Kerbin. That actually might be worth doing with a probe with our first satellite. Part testing. The swivel in orbit. An OMS engine assembly at the launch site. Yeah, not much in the way of funds. I mean, it might be worth doing just as a... That's something I got to decide with this Let's Play is, do I want to go out and do some of these just in the background without you guys having to watch them when I'm just doing some of the grinding. And exploration, explore the moon. Now that might kind of almost be worth taking just because fly by the moon, from the moon, return from a flyby. Now that, a flyby, see, I could do a flyby mission. I need to upgrade the VAB, but I'm very close to being able to do this. Low resolution scan of this. I'll think about that, but for now, let's go launch some tourists. Alright, here we are, ready to go with a little bit of space tourism. And this is about as cheap a rocket as I can possibly make. We have a solid rocket booster, 2 of these little one-man inline crew cabs. This is from a older mod that I don't know if they're still keeping it updated, but I got the mod entirely for this part. It's a 1.25 meter crew cabin that you can fit a Kerbal knot in, that does not jut out and just look weird. Looks natural in that stack, doesn't it? So we have our pilot, Jebediah, and then we have our 2 tourists. And all we're going to do is take them straight up, come straight back down. Yep, suborbital rocket flight. Not exactly a particularly thrilling flight, because this one is literally straight up and straight back down. Ooh, we are moving now. G-forces are starting to pile on. We're outside of the green zone, so this is a little bit uncomfortable. And we've still got quite a lot of fuel to burn off, so it isn't just going to get worse. Yeah, right now these guys are going to about 4.5 Gs. 5 Gs. Ooh, it is piling on now. 6 Gs. We're going to hit 7 before we're out of gas. Oh, we were right there, right at 7 Gs when this thing cut out. So, and apoapsis of 144 kilometers, so they're definitely going to get their ride. Oh, man. You know, that almost looks like a painting. Painting with rockets. Alright, let's go ahead and ditch that booster because we're not going to need that thing anymore. And let's lock that off. Here we go. Just a nice long coast on up to there we go, 144 kilometers. And now it's time to start coming back on down. And there we go, suborbital. Money, 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 money. And there we go. Now, what are we looking at? Battery charge is still looking good, so we're not going to worry about this. Just going to let this sucker fall. Re-entry heating effects. Re-entry heating effects. Get her straightened out. Whew. Ooh, we are not quite subsonic yet. There we go. First parachute away. Get us stable, start slowing us down. And there's the main chutes. Oh. Oh. Oh, man. We dropped a we dropped a spent solid rocket booster almost right into a city. Oh, man. Well, nobody saw that, right? Nobody saw that? All right, we're good. And here we go. Our space tourism industry is off to a fantastic start. Oh, man. For a second, this wasn't the Kerbal space program. It was the Chinese space program. And, yep, Jeb gets no XP because he's already done that. Oh, but the tourists got some XP. That's nice. 20%. Launching, awarded for launching with solid fuel booster at 20% of ship mass. I'm pretty sure that solid fuel booster was about 80% of the ship's mass. All right. Oh, man. You know, now that I'm looking at this, if I take this and I take this, because I'm going to fly by the moon, I'm going to gather scientific data, Yep. Alright, so let's think about this. Well, I need the VAB bigger. That's non-negotiable. So we're going to have to upgrade the VAB. Next, I need patched conics. I've got to have the ability to set a maneuver node. It's not going to be pretty. Okay. Well, unfortunately, because I need the money, I think it's that time. Alright, I know what you're thinking. What is this monstrosity? Well, first of all, it's never actually intended to fly, so don't let these little wings fool you. Those are just purely because I think it looks cool. What this actually is a science cart. For those of you who don't know, every different biome you can perform experiments and you get credit for doing the science in those biomes. And Kerbin has 8 biomes. I think they have about 8 biomes independently. But the KSC, the Kerbal Space Center, has 33 biomes all throughout the KSC. And as a consequence, now none of those biomes are really worth a lot in terms of science because you're on Kerbin at the KSC. The science multiplier is absolutely rock bottom, but it's science. And with our strategy that we've got, every single biome that we investigate that we keep science from is another 15,000 credits, which could add up to a lot of money, I hope. So the purpose of this is to drive to as many of these biomes as possible, do what science we have available, cash in through our strategy, plus get our science, and then hopefully we will be able to go and do our lunar flyby. Yeah, there we go. Kill that though, because we don't really want to go anywhere, because first thing we want to do is get a little bit of science. Here we go. See, right there, 7.5 science. Just from the runway. And the mystery goo. 3 more science. 3.5 science. 2.4. Do a crew report. 1.5. And even take some magnetometer data for another 1.2. So, as you can see, very much not worth a whole lot in terms of the science, but at the very least, it's something. Now, here we have our intrepid scientist, who is now going to go out and restore those experiments so they can be used again. Unfortunately, oh, and I can get an EVA report for another 2.5 science. So we'll grab on, get back aboard, and now we take the brakes off, and we travel to the next place. And with 33 individual biomes, you can tell this gets tedious. So let it be known that that's what I'm going to be doing for the next hour, 2 hours, and I'm going to save it for y'all. So next time when you rejoin me, hopefully we will have the trials and travails of the science cart will be completed, and we'll have the science, and we'll see about doing that lunar flyby. For now, I'll catch you guys next time.